Okay, here we go again. This time I'm on a walk with Beau. So, been back at work today, but kind of been very groggy. Like, not a bad groggy, not like an anxious, hungover, anxiety groggy, but just like, you know, when you wake up from a nap or when you wake up in the morning and you kind of expect yourself, you've got this grogginess that kind of goes away. I've had that, but like the whole day, it's not gone away. I'm still feeling groggy, but it's fine because Beau is fine. But today, just going to talk about essentially getting greedy, too competitive, not understanding that the long game is the way. The short game tends to not win, because you might get a win, but then you get just as big of a loss. And essentially my priorities have been shifted a little bit. When it comes to cryptocurrencies and investments and all that kind of stuff, I was doing rather well and made a load of money, but never fully realised it. And essentially now I've lost a lot of it. And it's coincidental how it's at a time of the birth of Beau. I feel like it's a reset, because I found faith and God, and my kind of world scheme has kind of just been reevaluated recently. I'm not taking it as bad as what I have done previously, and I've realised that the gains that I had, I didn't deserve. Because clearly, if I did deserve it, I would have them. And I know what I did wrong. I was getting greedy, competitive, angry and jealous, causing me to make moves that were not well thought out, because I wanted to do it faster, you know, like faster. I want gains faster. Ultimately, it made the losses faster and bigger, and I deserve it. So from now on, look, my priorities were to have a lot of money for selfish reasons, but now my priority is to have money for reasons to give Beau a good life and a good education and support her. I still have the law of material goods and aesthetic goods and tech and flexing and stuff like that. Like, I wanted to make a lot of money so I could get, like, I like watches, so I could get a fancy watch, so I could get my teeth straightened and things like this. And they're all like, it's all kind of like, I still want those things, but now I'm like, it's caused me nothing but anxiety trying to get those things. And I'm not saying I have now changed and I'm this amazing person, because I'm wondering if I can even stick to this new, like, one thing is, like, when I go on these walks, I have these idealistic views or thoughts, and I'm like, let's do that. That sounds good. This is what we're going to do from now on. And then, like, I try change the habit, and sometimes I'm successful, but sometimes I'm not successful, and I just stick to the same old status quo. And look, a lot of things now, like, I had meaning in my life, I think, compared to most. I feel like I'm one to kind of deep think and get deep thoughts and like figure out what do I really want and come to conclusions on stuff and like have a direction. Like I have directions and I try things and I'm bold, and I don't think that's going to change. But now, like, I've got an added why rather than just like it gives me fulfillment. Another why is a deeper why, which is based around my child. So now, like, I want to make money for different purposes, and I don't want to essentially jump too fast into it and have negative repercussions from being too fast. I think what is true is the slow and steady really does win the race, because first of all, if you're thinking long term, you don't care about silly little short-term fluctuations. You don't think about them. You just stick into your plan long term. The habits need to change. I think I was healthy and now I'm a little bit overweight compared to what I used to be. Believe it or not, I used to be in some serious shape, especially when I was like teenager. I was number one, I was gold medalist swimmer, in some serious shape, but drinking kind of ruined my shape and probably a swimming career, because I like partying and stuff like that, and probably ruined like prospects from university, because I just partied the whole way through university. But I've not drunk for like 2 years now, and I think my health, rather than yet again it being for a personal gain, like, oh, I want to go to the gym to get in good shape so I'm aesthetically pleasing, because I want Yaz to find me aesthetically pleasing, kind of thing. Now it's also I can flex on people saying look at my abs and kind of shit, that kind of stuff. But now it's like, and I hope I'm not lying to myself when I say this, but now it's more, okay, if I'm unhealthy and I have a heart attack at like 49, or like if I pass away early, that means that Beau has less time with me and has to suffer trauma earlier, and I don't get to spend as much time with her as well. So I'd rather keep healthy for the sake of Yaz and Beau and family members, because, you know, when someone with a close family member is going through some things and it's a healthy relationship, which I pray to God that me and Beau and Yaz have long-lasting healthy bonds, and I hope it's a healthy family relationship. I know from personal family relationships that are healthy, when they're going through illnesses, it's pretty traumatic. And I'm not saying it from an egotistical point of view, like, oh, Beau is going to feel bad if I get ill. Like, that's not in an egotistical way. It's in a, hopefully, a natural way, if that makes any sense. I would want to try and keep as healthy as possible, so there's less risk of her going through trauma in the future if I'm ill. And I really hope I'm not lying to myself. What I'm trying to do is trying to shift the habits. Shift the habits, which are hard to do. It's like a cruise ship. You know, if you change the cruise ship direction by 1 degree, then, you know, after 10 meters, there's going to be no difference. They're going to be in the same area, but after 200 kilometers, they'll be miles apart. But it's like, as you get older, the momentum has more weight to it. It gets heavier and harder to shift. Yeah, Bo's still having a little jiggle. She's okay. Every now and again, I've just got to have a little check on her to make sure she's okay. We're just having a nice walk around the block. So yeah, like reading the book. I've read the book Compound Effect a while ago, and I recently read the book Atomic Habits, and both of them pretty much say similar things, but Atomic Habits has more of a manual on how to implement changes. And I think just long term, we just need to start getting healthier, start thinking about long-term financial investment rather than short-term wins. Because one thing I have been doing is ignoring like intuitive advice, that, you know, the gut feeling. Like, I thought I had gut feelings, but then maybe those gut feelings were based out of greed, or like, yeah, let's do that sounds really good, that could make a lot of money. So it's based out of greed rather than based out of like that intuitive understanding that was always there, that I kind of just parked and put to the back of my mind. Like, I know that I need to be doing heat shock more, because I feel like when I do the aqua supplement, I feel like that might be a bit of the calling at the minute. Like, I want to do something for my own. I want to make a bit more money than I'm making now, and like, if I do something myself, I have control over that. Like it's so much easier to make 10 grand, for example. Yeah, she's alright. Yeah. It's so much easier to make 10 grand by selling stuff rather than 10 grand by waiting for a market that you are basically made a guesstimate to go up. You know, like, to make 10 grand if you've got 100 grand's easy if you're in the market, but to make 10 grand if you've got 10 grand, it's hard in the market. So to make that 10 grand when you don't have hundreds of K to play with is easier done by probably online things. And this is me at 28, and since the age of about 19, I've been all into investments, and it's been a big journey, and I've learned a lot from it. And now, if I do make money from selling stuff that I own, I know what to do with it, and I've learned those lessons. And it just, for some reason, like, I've known what to do, but my ego has told me, oh, that's not going to happen to me. If I do this, I'll get away with it. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like I know S&P 500 long-term compound investment is the way forward. Okay, I've known that, and I've known that Bitcoin is the way forward rather than, like, I used to always say, I'm never going to sell, I'm always going to have at least one Bitcoin, because I had three at one point. Now I've got not one, let's just say that, less than one, which is hard on my ego to swallow. But I've always said, if I'm going to play about, I'm going to leave one Bitcoin for me to play about with, but for me to keep forever. But last cycle, all alts went insanely high, and I thought to myself, well, if I popped in all my Bitcoin, I would have had about 5. I worked out I would have had about 5 Bitcoin, and I was like, holy shit, that means next cycle, if I just go and pop all my Bitcoin in to these alts, like safe, guaranteed alts, you know, not the crappy meme coins, but the hype layer 2 kind of things, then I could make 7-8 Bitcoin. and the greed got to me. Put all of it into Solana, and it was looking good for a while, Jeff. And then I fucked up. And I remember thinking I got to like a really good portfolio valuation not even long ago, by the way. Like, we're talking 4 months ago. And I remember thinking, oh, in 4 months I'm gonna have so much money, and there's no point me even spending any of it right now and getting what I wanted. I didn't think any of that. I just thought, I'm gonna wait for myself to get a bit more, then I can buy this all stuff. But no, I did the thing that humans do. Keep it all for myself. I've got to keep it all. I've got to keep more. I've got to hoard it. And yeah, it bit me in my arse. I had enough to start this company at the time, and I was like, no, let's not do it now. I had enough to get this watch that I wanted. I was like, no, let's not do it now. Because if I had put the money into the company and bought that watch, I'd still have that valuation in the watch and in the company in terms of product, and I'd have that fire up my ass to sell. But I have learned so many lessons along the way. I know to not make decisions when I'm knackered and tired that are greedy. Don't get too involved day to day. Think, go for walks and think. And yeah, like the best decisions come when you are in a walk, you've been through, you've managed to process the emotions, and then you think, you ask for guidance, and then believe it or not, you do get guidance. But I've ignored the guidance recently. I thought, oh yeah, I know the guidance. Like, that's what I thought. For some reason, the fact that I know what to do means that even that gave me the dopamine. Like, okay, I know what to do, but then I didn't do it. Anyway, so moral of the story is, I've had ups and downs, and don't get me wrong, I'm very, very happy as to where I am right now. Even though I've lost a bit of material gain, it doesn't matter right now in this moment. What matters is Bo. What matters is Yaz. What matters is I've got a house. What matters is I've got a loving family, and I need to make more of an effort with my family, because they've made a massive effort with me recently with the advent of Bo, and like it's made me think like I should have probably, although I'm a lot younger than like my brothers and sisters, I feel like I've probably been dicks to them. I feel like I should make more of an effort with them. Same with my mum and dad. They make so much effort with me, and I kind of taken it for granted for a long time. And I think it's time to change. I think a slow but steady direction shift is kind of what's heading. What I'm going to try and do, and I think daily walks and things like that hopefully will keep me on track. So also I wanted to speak about Christianity and Jesus again. One thing that I try not to do is a job, as in the job in the Bible, not a job as in working job, but like what job in the Bible did was essentially only try to practice faith when you want things. Like, if you, like, for example, if you're trying to this is one of those things where I hope I actually do, I'm not just like fucking mentally think about, but like if you're praying for something and then you start all of a sudden not sinning and doing stuff because you want God to reward you, and then when you get the good stuff, you forget all about that, and you start being a sinner again, essentially. Then those things that you prayed for ultimately may get taken away from you because you kind of probably didn't deserve it. Now I feel like that's kind of what's happened with my crypto, but like I'm trying, like right as of right now, I've lost stuff and been humbled in a way, and I don't even really care. What I care now about is the spiritual battle, and to keeping spiritually, like I must not get angry kind of thing, because anger can lead to sinning. It's the way the devil can get into you. But one thing you can do to repay God is to pray for other people. Now, this is a message to Belle and children, like if you're praying for other people, I would ask you to consider empathy and prayer. If you see someone else going through a bad time, don't say to yourself, I'm glad that's not me. Or, I mean, you can say that, but what I would suggest is just taking a minute or two when you're on your own later and just think about them, whoever it is. It might be someone you're not even friends with, it might be someone you don't really know, it might be it doesn't have to be schizophrenic, like doing it for every time you hear every person, but if it's someone that you kind of is in your awareness, just pray for them. Just pray that everything will be okay for them. Just say, Lord, like I hope X or Y gets resolved. I hope what they're going through doesn't get worse. You know, I pray for recovery, I pray for health, I pray for financial recovery, I pray for whatever it is. Because then you're essentially spreading the Lord into other people's lives, maybe without them not even knowing it, but you can essentially, that's kind of doing Lord's work in this realm. And yeah, I ultimately think that's one way of repaying him, along with not sinning and trying to not get greedy or angry. You know, just being content with what you got. You can control the things that you have control over. If you don't have control over that thing, don't worry about it and have faith that everything will be okay. And I think that's me signing off for today. And Bo is still nice and asleep. So see you later.